Welcome to Herstory Revisited, where we explore more than you ever wanted to know about things you've never heard of. Together we uncover the hidden threads of the past through the eyes of women, the unsung sheroes, innovators, and peacemakers who shaped the world in ways history failed to acknowledge. Woven through these stories is a golden thread, the evolution of humanity and human consciousness. From pilgrims to pioneers, from forgotten voices to transformative moments, we explore history through the lens of the divine feminine. Because history isn't just his story, it's her story too. Welcome to Herstory Revisited.
Hello.
We are really going through some wild things over lost footage that we found of Dolores Cannon.
Yep.
The prophetess. And actually, what was so interesting about Dolores is that the way that she came upon her information was as a psychologist and hypnotist. And more, as she continued to do these readings for people, they were going into other timelines and other lifetimes.
Right.
And some of them were future lifetimes.
That's right.
And through those future lifetimes, she learned a lot about the Galactic Federation and the Interdimensional Council of Light and all of these wild things in interdimensionality that exist outside of the 3D matrix.
Right. Yeah, I mean, she's pretty extraordinary because she didn't start woo-woo. She literally started with sciences that, are acknowledged here. But the material that she encountered through her sessions opened her field of understanding, going, there's a lot more than what we're being told. There's a lot more that probably has disappeared and that is seeping through maybe some hypnotherapy sessions and, different things, maybe vision. I mean, we've always had some of those at different times.
What was so interesting was when we met her in Sedona, because we met her in 1997, I think it was. When we filmed, it was way back.
Yeah,
when we filmed that. But she was a speaker in a number of conferences and different we called it New Age, but this consciousness awakening wasn't just happening among the native people. It was even contemporary psychics, and a lot of Edgar Casey's material was being gone through. Right. People were all tripping out about the Mayan calendar in 2012, and so they were poring over every prophet and trying to figure out.
Was there any clues that we should be aware of where we're heading, because they were foretold centuries before?
Okay, why we're tripping today is that we found this footage from our archives that is mind-blowing because it's about this time right now. And then yesterday we found this video, and that video was Dolores and her teachings. She died 12 years ago.
Right.
I mean, it was her and her teachings talking about the planetary alignments of 2026 and how there will be a consciousness split.
Even a timeline splitting. An old Earth and the new Earth.
Yes.
And depending on what we observe, we will go because what we focus on expand, that's where we go. So the old Earth, we know, there are changes, things are being disrupted, there's a collapse of an old system. And if you watch that, you're disempowered, you fear, it's anxiety, it's just like, what is the point of all that? It's the end of the world. And we can understand why that was a belief and why we're going, oh my God, is this happening to us? There is a collapse of an old system. But since life never dies and it keeps transforming, she was explaining that within the existing reality, three-dimensional reality, we have both polarity, love and fear, which is that if you have one, you can have the other. And they're taking too much space within that. And so they are basically within, it's like one cell is basically dividing itself. It's like one circle.
It's like mitosis.
Think of it, it's mitosis. One cell becomes two within one. Mm-hmm. And now we're still within that one cell, but the two are separating. And that's why sometimes we feel like we're in different, within our family, we have so opposite view of the world that we're living in, which is living kind of in the same world. I mean, seemingly.
One of them's angry and separate, and how dare it end justice, and
or is attached to kind of the old ways, and then the other one is seeing that some of the old ways, have to go, and new ways are coming, better ways, kinder, more balanced, more circular, at peace. Kind of like a mother would say, "There's enough for two, there's enough for 10. We'll make it work." And so the old world is going one way, and then the new world is coming at the same time, And
the way that this video, go and look in the description. Look in the description
it's
for
incredible.
the video that we just put in the description that was just released a couple days ago. Because March 20th of 2026 is the equinox. But it's not just the equinox. It's all these planetary alignments, 0 degrees,
right.
Aries, and what it means. That is has been prophesied for not just decades, like literally. I mean, the Mayan calendar, if you think about Don Alejandro, which watch that video because that's coming up.
Right.
The Mayan calendar keeper, we found lost footage there as well, hidden prophecies that no one else has recorded. Right. And we're about to put that out.
Right.
Too.
Right.
But because we came upon this information of Dolores and the women prophetesses, and because
the visionaries,
and
they
because
could see the dynamic of where we're heading,
and because of the prophecies of Barbara Marx Hubbard just appeared again, we found the notes and the film of interviews that we did with her as well. These women prophetesses have the same thing to say. Which is, in our heart of hearts, in the deepest place, our wishes for peace, our prayers of alignment, our own particular coherence of heart, mind, and soul
to source,
where
we're all one,
invoking sovereignty, and with great love, beam toward a better world, a better outcome.
Yeah.
And that's what all these peacemakers have been trying to do for year upon year, waiting for the time when there was supposed to be something happening in the stars that would be so dramatic that all of humanity at once could not but notice.
Right.
That seems to be right now, people.
But the really interesting thing about the one message that we got from Dolores.
You can look at me here.
Yeah, look up here for this. The one message that was really important was for the light workers. If you are, if you feel like you have a greater purpose, if you feel like you're not here for an accident, if you don't think anything is random, that there's actually, we're co-creating, as we're basically making it up as we're going along. But if you do feel you have a responsibility and you do feel like, you have a part to play in this grand picture, not just our own little lives, as a light worker, she warned us about something. In the time where it looks like the timelines are starting to split, those that are attached more to more density, more fear, and do not want to let go of that for a higher frequency or higher vibration, those that are higher frequencies that have been standing out like weirdos, and we're talking about things that most people don't even understand or have any interest in it at first, we've been holding that space, being in front of everybody else, and it's a lonely place because most people just want to be left alone and live and survive and in that kind of way. And she said, be careful, there is a trap, and that trap is wanting to save other people.
The rescuer syndrome.
The rescue syndrome, and feeling the guilt of, oh my God, they're not going up, they're going down, because the split and the collapse of the old system has an impact in this low dimension. But since we're going up, we could stay there, and it's all good. There's nothing good about it. They're all experiences.
I think what she's saying is that there's the three-dimensional world that will continue.
Right.
And everybody's perfectly valid to stay exactly where they are and do nothing.
They will stay dense.
And then there are certain people that just feel this call so impelled that they're going to move quickly, and she talks about how timelines split, and that maybe some people just blow up and fall out of your life immediately.
Right. And these are laws of energy.
And that's okay.
But it's, if you think about laws of energy, when something vibrates at a certain level and something is low, either the low will calibrate up and and resonate and be there, or he will not be able, and he'll just go back down.
Yeah.
And these are just natural world physics. It's not just human
So
things.
what they're saying is, for those of you who resonate to the information she's putting out,
right.
Don't despair.
Yeah.
There's a reason why we're all feeling this stirring, and there's also a reason for all the ugliness and chaos and the wars and the whatever, and that we should tune away from that and tune back toward nature.
Yeah.
Especially toward our own human nature, our heart of hearts.
Right.
And that through prayer and ceremony and meditation and good thoughts for the greater good, we will put ourselves back into coherence. Right. Because the thing that was so interesting last November when 3I Atlas showed up in our atmosphere, this interstellar object and 3 interstellar objects in 2025, and all the astrophysicists talking about how unusual it is to have something from 10 billion years ago show up in our atmosphere.
Right.
And then all of the buzz about, is this an alien ship?
Not behaving like an asteroid or a comet.
It doesn't behave like anything
like,
normal.
Yeah.
It has 22 anomalies that make it so different.
Yeah.
And Avi Loeb he's just the top astrophysicist at Harvard. And, but he started getting all agitated because his math is saying, this is not right. This is weird. Something's weird.
Yeah.
And every time he brought it to NASA would shut him down.
Right.
And then the other space agencies, the European Space Agency, the Chilean Atlas telescope that found this object, and the Chinese and others are saying, wait, no, Avi Loeb is right. The math is right.
Right. So they're not hiding it. They're not trying to conceal it.
And so then that just speaks to disclosure,
which is a bigger question, because if you don't, if you think, we're the only one out there in space of billions of planets and galaxies, it's going to create some, people are going to go, ooh, now you're telling us that? I mean, how long have you known? And so then you get into this weird position where...
Coincidentally, right about the time when Tesla died.
Right. So anyway, we know that there's a lot more going on, under our nose, literally, that what they're telling us. But I think this is all coming with our frequency, the veil being thinner. And it's easier to keep people, kind of confined and sort of ignorant of phenomena that they can experience if they're not connected to their source, basically. If you can align, if you're calm, if you breathe, you find your center, you're going to perceive a much bigger picture. If you notice, when you're panicked, if you have anxiety, you don't see anything. The world is collapsing on you, and your vision and your experience is so reduced, and you have no power.
And if you have moments where you're totally freaked out, that's also an energetic of this split.
And
that
also,
you have to choose resonance, and you choose where you resonate, and you choose, do you look up or do you look down?
That's right. And the tools that we used to, to go back to center are as old as the earth, probably. Breathing, coherence between the mind. I was reading a book that was explaining that if you think about a glass of water and then you put a bit of oil on top, no matter how much you shake the water, the oil will remain on top. So our divine, eternal, immortal self is the oil. And the water that may have stuff in it is our 3-dimensional, fragmented being that needs that in order to have experiences. Pleasant, unpleasant, fun, happy, depressed, horrible. I mean, we go, the whole spectrum of emotion is what we're here to play. It's a stage, essentially. But that oil, that little layer of oils is source. So when you get all vegetated, go back to the oil, and you're floating on top and nothing can get to you.
The singularity.
It's the singularity. And in that space, a whole
But don't
world
despair
opens up.
if you're also despairing. Because you just know that you can't stay in that state.
Right.
And what was interesting about 3I Atlas is it was saying there's coherence and incoherence.
Right.
When the incoherence happens, Atlas will patiently wait for you to come back to coherence.
Right.
Because it has to do with vibration. It has to do with, can we stay in frantic? Or can we, do we focus?
Right. Can we amplify? Think of it as a radio.
Yeah.
If 3 Atlas was only amplifying, let's say, FM versus AM station, these are all dials. They're all existing simultaneously, but we can only listen to one at a time. You can't listen to unless you have two radios going on. But if you have one radio, which we are a transistor, we receive and we broadcast, it could only amplify the higher frequencies. Dog can hear sounds that we can't. We all have a certain, range of abilities with our senses, our mortal human senses. But if it only amplifies the higher ones, we need to literally move our dial towards there more often as an exercise, just like we brush our teeth, just like we breathe, just like we get some sun, just like, we find a place of calm where we can actually bring all that energy back to ourselves, and from there act instead of reacting. And that's whether all of the teachers have told us, and I don't care if it's Buddha, I don't care which religion, which path, which avatar, which, enlightened masters, they all tell you to go that, because from there you go back to your source and then you go home.
But for all of us at this time in the collective, this is a transition time, a time where our values matter, where our ethics,
yes,
our alignment, our truth, and our alliance to goodness for all,
right,
really matters.
Yeah.
And what I thought, what I was so turned on by with 3i Atlas and the messages that were coming out around that time in November of last year, when NASA was discovering the brightest star ever discovered, and
right, that's right,
right,
yeah,
and 3i Atlas is there, and Avi Loeb's beating his head against a wall, going, wait a minute, because what happened was, here's this interstellar object. It went perihelion. It went through the sun, and it came back a different color, and then it went to Mars. And when it went by Mars, all of the satellites were shut off, that it couldn't be seen.
Yeah.
And then now it's going to Juno today, March 16th, 2020.
Juno. Yeah,
it's going to arrive in the perfect spot around Jupiter where satellites and craft don't get damaged by the asteroid belt surrounding that planet. And so now 3i Atlas is going to be in the same zone as our spacecraft, right, Juno.
Right.
And we know a lot about that because when we were at Sun Microsystems managing Solaris 7 and Solaris 8,
the operating system,
the Juno spacecraft was just being created.
Right.
And our operating system, the Solaris 8 operating system, was on it.
That's what operates it, because it never goes down.
Because it never goes down.
No reboot when you're in space.
So all the astrophysicists today are saying, what's going to happen when Atlas goes by Jupiter?
Right.
Will Juno even be able to detect what's going on, or will it shut us off again?
Well, that'll be interesting, because that may be the last time we actually can see 3i
It will
Atlas.
be, because it'll move out of our galaxy.
We may not have anything else that could. Yeah, that's right.
So
yeah.
So Dolores Cannon, the Mayan calendar keeper, the Hopi prophecies, the Barbara Marx Hubbard, so many hidden prophecies that we're about to bring out from our archives.
Right.
So stay tuned.
Wait. There was something before we end the show.
Oh, yes.
There was one thing I wanted to say. The Earth has a frequency. It's called a Schumann frequency.
Schumann resonance.
Schumann resonance. And from the core of the Earth, it pulsates to the crust where we obviously are living. And that frequency used to be steady. I think it was 7.8 or 7.5.
Yeah, it was just like the pH in the human blood.
And for the longest time that we've been measuring it, it was, invariable. It wasn't changing.
They called it the geologic constant.
Right, geologic constant, because, it's within the Earth and everything, and we can't affect any of that.
But because of all these sunspots, it's been spiking.
But we don't actually know what's causing it. But from 7, it has been registered at 20, at 40, at 60, even at 100. Which means the amount of energy that's coming from the inside of the Earth to the surface, and probably from the outside, all that light from the sun is hitting us. So if you're feeling palpitations, if you're feeling a sudden flutter of anxiety or ringing in the ear, heart palpitation, earring in the ears, hot flashes, if you're not menopausal, we are, so for us it could be a bit of both. I mean, we're on the other side now, but anyway, but if you feel these acceleration, and for no reason, there's nothing going on around you that could cause it, know that the planet itself is even increasing its frequency, and while we're on it, because we're connected and we're stuck to it by the magnetic, of the planet, then we are also we're also an ecosystem, and we will feel that. it's not bad. It's actually very good. We might be upgraded. All that information that comes from the sun, it's information, it's data, it's
Information
intelligence.
comes on light.
It comes on light. We're beings
That's
of light,
interesting.
and infinitely. And I learned something from a friend of mine that is a healer, is that in our body, we have a layer called the fascia. It's literally under our skin. And when a lot of trauma is happening, that fascia is disrupted. And apparently the fascia is like tiny tubes of fiberglass that has light in it. Because we have electricity, if you rub your feet on the carpet and you touch it,
similar to a fiber optic cable.
I'm sure you've done static electricity or you shock somebody. Our whole body has that. And so we are light being, and because our skin is the largest organ in our whole body, it is actually it's like an antenna. It's an antenna that caps it. So
which is what 3i Atlas said,
so
right?
the important thing is get out every day without glasses, with anything, with your body, and get some of the light and the sun, because it feeds our entire informational body. That's also, strangely enough, in our fascia, the thing that covers our entire body. So it's fascinating once we start looking at not just our physicality, but how all of that is getting the energy. All of that is allowing us to shift our frequency, and how we consciously need to choose our frequency, and then we can get out of it and having something, but it passes through. But
what you're trying to say is that the collective frequency we are all living in on our planet itself is going through massive change.
Yeah, there are fluctuations. And I think, it's like there are little test things where they're sending a little bit more, and then they pull it back so we can adapt to it. You can't crank up anything.
No, it's just the magnetic resonance of everything.
Right. But I'm saying there's more information that maybe if the veil is thinning, then more information, more stuff can go through it.
And I still can't get over, on November 4th, in 2025, November 4th, NASA released this information about the largest star ever discovered by man. It was millions of times the magnitude of our sun.
That's right.
And if one human observes that,
right,
and there's light,
right,
and that information travels on light,
right,
and one human sees it, isn't it just like you were saying of the ships when the conquistadores?
Oh God, they had never seen a ship before,
where
so
the
they couldn't
natives
see it.
Didn't know what they were looking at,
so they couldn't see it,
and so they didn't recognize it until one of the priests recognized it, and then all of the Indians, all of the local people,
that's right,
all of them could see it,
right.
And I'm wondering if that moment of human seeing this high magnitude star, that amount of light,
right,
if it might have actually changed all of collective human.
Well,
I just think that's
it's
a
great
really
possibility.
cool idea.
But on that same idea of the light that's coming, more light's coming to us, certain emotions like guilt and shame and certain very, very dense emotion shut our system to absorbing that light.
Yeah.
And that's very important. And they were saying for the light workers,
it's kind of an Achilles heel.
Well, for the light workers that are getting sucked into the old world that's collapsing, we have to be very careful that in our sense of collective responsibility, we don't sink down in it, because that has to go on its own kind of not merry
vibration,
its own vibration, and it's fine. It's part of the stuff. But we need to make sure that we don't have this emotion. We don't identify, or we take too much of the emotions.
We can have those emotions.
They could
it's whether or not
us.
we identify.
But they shield
it's whether
us
or
from
not we focus.
That's right. That's right.
And how we use our focus and our collective, even just to have a prayer of greater good for all.
That's correct.
The greater good for all is a prayer of peace, and it puts you into a resonance of the collective.
That's correct. That's correct. And that circle...
And that collective is evolving. There's an evolutionary leap.
That's right.
These magnetics, the resonance of these planets, the resonance of our star, our sun...
That's right.
...cannot be diminished. It really is part of our physical being.
Right.
And part of our emotional and psycho-spiritual being as well.
And we must have chosen to be here at this time when this incredible transformation and transmutation is happening.
Yeah.
Because you think about it, I mean, every century there's incredible things happening. There's discoveries. There's we're evolving kind of in this slow kind of thing. But it seems that every
evolving slowly.
No. But I'm just saying. If you look at history back, like we invented this, and there was this, and then whatever the telephone, and then some big things that changed the way we communicated, the way we interact with each other. Then the internet, and AI now, but it seems that now we're at this sort of acceleration into the next thing. That's the next big, which
like
is
an
literally
exponential quantum leap.
That's right, a frequency jump. That we're continuing to live, continue probably what we're doing, but at a different frequency itself. Some lower frequencies will not be able to sustain that lift up. It's literally you either go down in the basement or you take the elevator to the penthouse. And in some ways, the frequencies are different. The view is different. Maybe the air.
It's just but I think what 3i Atlas, when the Galactic Federation was sending all those messages in November, that what they were, the collective thread of that entire message was, there's no judgment.
Nope.
Everyone gets to vibrate exactly where they want to be, and it's all as it should be.
That's correct.
There's nothing to fix.
Nope, there's nothing wrong per se. Yeah.
And for all of us,
it's all equally.
The Mayan calendar was so interesting when you were just talking about the spiral and the speed at which things go in the Fibonacci sequence. Because what was interesting in the Mayan calendar, that's going to be coming out in these next couple episodes of what was discovered in these prophecies. There was a stela that was discovered in the jungles of the Yucatan.
Right.
And on that stela, it describes all of the evolution of our planet.
From single cell.
From a single cell organism all the way to complex galactic life.
And that might have been the blueprint from any civilization, not just ours.
And Barbara Marx Hubbard says, she's gone too. She died about a decade ago. But she was saying that we are birthing Homo universalis.
That's
that
right.
we're birthing a new version.
Genus of
a
human.
new genus.
That's right.
And that's why the Mayan calendar had to end, because it was a marking point in our planetary evolution. And that from that evolutionary point then, we would go through these changes. So remember when Sophia happened? The first AI, robotic intelligence, given citizenship in the world was in 2018.
In Dubai or?
In Saudi Arabia.
No, Saudi Arabia, yeah.
Sophia.
Right.
And the first non-human non-biological entity.
Yes.
The first non-human entity was given citizenship.
Yeah.
And we thought, oh my God, that was when transhumanism as a public debate began. And it seemed so John Connor. It seemed so, I felt like Arnold was going to walk through the door any minute.
I'll be
and
back.
the Terminator was going to come.
I am back. Oh no.
And so these prophecies, I mean, we can joke about it, but honestly, if you've been with these people, I remember meeting Dolores. I mean, and when we sat down with Barbara, and how, I mean, we felt physically transformed in the presence of these few visionaries.
That's right. And they held a frequency. This is the part I think that the only thing that actually I think we're being asked at this particular junction in our evolutionary journey is to hold a higher frequency. Our not the don't have to be at the top one, because life is just gonna send stuff at you, but to hold a higher frequency, to look up first of all. To look up, because up is where we come from and where we're heading, and in holding that frequency, it will ripple. And
it's just about being in your heart of hearts. If your vibration isn't high enough, then you're not centered enough in your heart.
It's not, doing we have to do just to live, but the doing is one part, but the being, and it's hard because even as women, we multitask. We're always doing stuff, taking care of other people, and being there to rescue and hold spaces and healing and all of that.
They didn't call it rescuer. What did they call it?
The savior anchor or something.
Savior anchor. Dolores Cannon calls it the savior anchor.
And the anchor, unfortunately, stops you where you're at. You can't keep on moving because your anchor, drags you at the bottom of the ocean.
She's saying, don't try to fix.
And you cannot carry somebody else's luggage through the gate.
Yeah.
And that is like, wow, because they're sovereign anyway. It's just the...
Each of us are on our own sovereign path.
That's right.
And that everything is as it should.
And at the soul...
Everything is as it should.
At the higher level, it's all perfect. So
yeah, stay tuned for the Prophecy Keepers.
Yes.
Wow. Watching the description, the video of Dolores Cannon she just put out about March 2026 and the significance of the spring equinox.
Right.
And I keep thinking about Chichen Itza and the
snake,
coming down.
Right. And the time
at the equinox.
The reality splitting. And I think most of us have experienced some form or another of that. And why it's happening, and it's all good. It's a natural progression of the evolutionary journey.
Don't give in to fear, is the point.
No, definitely not. Definitely
use your ethics. Use your truth.
Yes.
Use your love.
Yes. By that fruit they shall be known. So by the frequency, you will know whether it's an up frequency or a down.
Yeah.
And we're just say, just look at it. Just say, hey, is it an up or is it a down? And then choose.
Yeah.
And then your ripple will be...
Tuned to your heart of hearts.
Yes.
Tuned to everyone else's.
Yes.
Which is kind of all we were ever supposed to do, right? Supposedly. If you enjoyed today's episode, follow the show, share it with someone else who loves a good story, or leave a review. It helps us to keep this channel going. Thank you for coming by, and until next time, stay curious and keep asking questions. We'll see you soon.